Hello, everyone. Welcome to Upstream.life on my channel, the upstreamlife.com. I bring you interviews with people who are shaping business transformation and are changing the world of business with a bunch of ideas. Today's guest is Savitha Reddy, the founder of LanguageStation.org, a startup which allows you to choose a language teacher on your own personal time. Knowing languages is powerful, guys, and the knowledge of several languages can cut across personal boundaries, barriers, misconceptions on different cultures and bind you together. I'm speaking from personal experience because I've learned Tamil, Kannada, and Telugu. And believe me, a lot of cultural barriers are broken as you learn many languages. So, LanguageStation.org hopes to solve this problem with a peer to peer platform, the first of its kind in the industry. Savitha is also the CEO of InLingua. It's a large company, by the way. And at Language Station, you can learn German, French, Spanish, English, Japanese, Mandarin, and several other languages, which include even Indian languages, guys. So she is, among many things, a classical dancer and a motivational speaker. We're going to talk about that too in a bit. By the way, a little bit about my sponsors. They're very important. Okay, this episode is brought to you by Bonamia Coffee, the very best gourmet coffee that allows you to be your own barista. Bonamia's coffee helps you through the busy week, and it's helped me kickstart any meeting and helps me through the day. Thanks, guys. And now I'm back to my guest, Savitha. How are you? Welcome to Upstream.life.
Hi, Vishal. Thanks for having me here today and doing good. Look forward to the show.
No, I'm very impressed, right? Being an Anglophile or somebody who's educated a lot in English, I never realized the power of local languages till I turned 30. In the last 11 years, I've consciously gone on to learn local languages. And of course, my international language is English, but I'd love to learn French and Spanish as well, maybe German, because I travel to these countries a lot more. So, on that context, right, I think Language Station is very important. Can you tell us about it, a little bit, its foundation, how did it come about, and why is it important in today's day and age, Savitha?
All right. So, Vishal, I started in Lingua in Bangalore in 2005, April, and last 16 years I've been teaching English, French, German, Spanish to corporates, colleges, and mostly individuals. And this was a physical classroom training, one-to-many training. But then what I realized over the years is it's like there was a need for, there are a lot more people wanting to learn languages, but due to various factors, unable to come to the same location for that many classes and attend the classes. So this is when for the last few years, we have been dreaming of an online platform to connect people based on languages. And last year when the lockdown happened, it was like an opportunity for us, and we immediately were happy to move all our classes online and started doing one-to-many and saw success. We have started having students from outside Bangalore, outside country as well. This is where Language Station was born. We realized very soon that the languages has to be learning. The future of learning is mostly one-on-one. So we had to bring out some kind of a very personalized, customized, a flexible platform where it's a peer-to-peer learning community where you can connect with the trainer and start learning a language at your own time convenience, at your own in your own way. So this is how Language Station took shape.
Interesting answer, because if the COVID hadn't happened, right, would that journey towards a peer-to-peer learning platform take time for you? Did the COVID force you to it, or did you have the idea in mind and the COVID only accelerated it?
Yes, we actually launched our online classes about 3-4 years back, and 10 years back itself, we introduced telephone lessons. So that way we have always been futuristic. We knew that sooner or later learning is going to be digital. So we were happy. We sort of were ready to offer the classes. When COVID happened, it was like an opportunity, just accelerated. It sort of gave us, it was like a dream come true. We wanted to move online and everyone was ready to accept it, and it accelerated, yes. But the idea and the plan was there from before.
Okay. I want to talk about you as a leader. You've been the CEO of this company, of a company for 16 years. You've started up a lot of it of life being a manager, a leader, a startup founder, very difficult because it involves a lot of your personal time taken away from you, right? How have you managed to scale up the previous company and also start another company? I'm a little curious to know about this business and industry. What makes you so passionate that you've been running this for so long, right? Can you tell us some insights about yourself?
Sure. I have an MBA, and after MBA, it's like I always dreamt of starting off a business of my own. And languages back then was not heard of, especially foreign languages. The market itself was not there. But somewhere I saw this was an exciting space to be in, and it's more like a futuristic trend. So that's when in 2005 decided to start off, and it was more of a spoken English training. The first 3 4 years we did only English language training, and then very soon we realized the French market for French language started opening up, and then the German language, and then we started introducing them. And now we completely do a lot more languages, and English sort of has come down because a place like Bangalore, people already speak good English. And so that's how we started. But then we kept on innovating. I mean, one thing that I always believed in life or in business is change is the only constant. If you're not changing, and if you're not creating and innovating every day, every year, if you're not doing something different, something new, then you sort of move beyond. You're not even keeping in pace with the things. So back in 2010 2011 itself, I realized technology, adopting to using technology is the only way to scale up. Otherwise you'd have to be in the same situation or move out of the industry. So we introduced telephone lessons. Then we got in one of the strong CRMs, Salesforce, back in 2012-13 itself, when it was not heard of in any of the language schools using a CRM. But then we integrated, automated most of the processes, and we have constantly been working on how do we automate, how do we, if there is something that can be done with much more easier way, then why not do it, and why do we have to repeat it manually? So this is how it's like we kept on innovating, bringing in automation, bringing in technology. And we started offering online classes in 2015-16 itself. And it was very slow back then because the market was not ready. People wouldn't believe that they can learn a language just sitting at home. They wanted to come meet the trainers and be present there and start learning. The trainers were not very happy. They said, no, we would like to be in person and start teaching. So we were crawling, doing a few numbers, and but we soon knew that it's like the more we are limited to a geographic location, the scale is going to be only that much this thing. So if you have to like keep making a difference in this space, reaching out to more people, it's the only the digital this one. So this constant change, innovation, bringing in new technologies helped us move in this direction.
Okay, and how did you manage yourself? The mental piece, the physical energy required to run companies. Are you by nature motivated from childhood? Was it a special training that you went through that makes you the way you are? Some insights into this, because everybody wants to start up now. Everybody wants to run a company. I want to put it out there saying that it is more of a mental strategy, and it's a mental game, right? It cannot be done randomly. Correct, Savitha?
That's true. I completely agree. It's not about the business skills, or it's not about your language skills or training. It's much more deeper that happens. It's your belief systems. What is it that you like doing, and how do you approach your approach to life or problem solving? I think right from my childhood, I've sort of had this thing about not giving up. Sort of determined whatever I take up, I would like to see it to completion. And there was this words which when I was in primary school: awake, arise, and stop not till the goal is reached, by Swami Vivekananda, on the report card. Every month after our monthly test, when I get the card, I would first read these words. And this sort of remained deeply etched in my memory, in my mind. And everything that I do, I sort of apply this. So I realized very soon, it's like whatever you take up, if you keep doing at it, it's like that persistence, not giving up until you complete it. But at the same time, be very flexible and adaptable. It's like not, if something is not working, just not go behind it, but see and change, make those changes early on, and keep at it. I think sooner or later you will realize.
Okay. Did you have mentors? If I may ask, did your parents mentor you? Did you have teachers who mentored you? You're also an MBA. Did you have professors who mentor you? And like you said, change is the only constant because you learn from multiple people. In your case, obviously, those quotes from Swami Vivekananda guided you from childhood, right? But the consistency, did you manage basically by saying, okay, that you would finish something that you started? Was that something that you always kept in mind?
Yes, it's sort of, there is help available. There are mentors available, teachers available. If you ask for it, it will come. But for me, it's like it's a series of people who's shaped this up. So whether it was my father in the early ages, I mean, one day I come out of my room and I see him do Shirshasana with his head down and his feet up. I said, I want to do this, but I was still in school, primary, middle school, and I kept trying, I kept falling. Then, but these words could keep coming back until the goal is reached, don't stop. Kept on trying. After a week or 2 weeks, I was able to do it. That was my first lesson. I said, okay, if you don't give up, you'll be able to learn whatever you want to learn. I
Okay.
kept moving, and then when I wanted to, I did my MBA after my marriage, and I wanted to give up. It was like the classes started 15 days. June 1st was my the marriage, and June 15th the classes started. And after 1 week into it, I stopped going to college. My mother called me and said, "If you're not going to college, what will you do?" Then it struck me. I didn't have anything else to do, and that made a huge difference. And so I decided to complete MBA, and then after MBA, it's sort of business. I mean, I'm not worked in this field, or I do not have any experience, but then there was that strong this thing saying I want to do something, because going out and working and when you're married, it was sort of difficult. So but I didn't want to sit quiet, so I decided to take it up. But I did not have any experience in this field, not today. Even today, I don't speak any of the foreign languages. Initially, the trainers who would come in were more experienced. They would interview me and go back instead of me interviewing them. And but then the first few years were not easy, in the sense I didn't know how to put things together and things like that. So that's where I started looking for answers, and it sort of become more like a spiritual journey. Entrepreneurship is not just about business, but then that's where you start realizing your own strengths, connecting to yourself, and start finding answers for your purpose and things like that. Started meeting a series of people, and then took in the wisdom or their learning experience, but did not get stuck with one or two people. Kept moving from one this thing to other till I found all the answers. The first 10 years was sort of difficult, but
Okay.
the more answers, the more experience I gained. It's sort of now the last 2, 3 years, I was sort of enjoying this entire process of, it's more like a creativity. It's an art form, not just business or monetary, this thing.
That's very inspiring. That's interesting, right? So you're a very methodical person. So when you set this up, talk to me about the teaching methodology at Language Station, right? How does it work? And you've been in the language industry 15 years, so you know some knowledge and insights about this industry. What makes it special? And how are you using these insights to transform your company, Language Station, into the future? Let's start with the methodology of teaching, and let's talk about the insights from languages or the language learning over the last 15 years, and talk about the future.
Sure. I mean, the more I spent time in the business and understanding things, I soon realized there is sort of a methodology, like what you put it, saying it's like in anything that we do, there is a methodology. There is once you start understanding those basic principles, the fundamental operating units, then you apply that formula to anything that you do, and you become successful in it. So very soon I realized the process of language learning also has certain principles into it. Like,
Yes,
how did we learn our language as a child? It's by listening and speaking, not by reading
correct,
and writing, not through grammar. I
correct.
soon realized it's like most of the other language schools would start teaching. Renan Martin was very famous. Start
Yeah,
teaching.
we had that in school. Correct. All of us had that.
And
Yes.
grammar, we started learning a language. But very soon I realized it's like, as adults, when it comes to straight grammar, our minds switch off. I speak Kannada and Telugu fluently, but I do not know any grammar at all. To speak a language fluently, you don't need to know the grammar, but you need to know how it works in the functional approach to it. So there are certain principles like this, and that we adopt inside our classrooms. Like, we teach only through examples and not through explanations. Because I mean, all through our education, we were given lectures and explained how things work. But what happens when somebody else is talking? Our minds switch off. But then when it's an example, saying it's like, am I talking? Will I continue to talk for some more time? So can we call it talking? So
Yeah.
call it talking. So it's a present continuous tense. So did it all
Yes.
happen yesterday? So can we say it rained? So instead of saying it's a past tense, so we say rained, it's present tense, so we say talking. Examples like this. Am I going
Okay.
to talk to you tomorrow? So can I say going to talk? And so through examples we teach, not through explanations. In fact, in our classes, 70% of the time, it's 70 to 80% of the time, it's the students who talk, because they need the practice. It's not the trainers who need the practice. They're already good in the language. And it's only
Absolutely.
questions we teach. One of the very interesting concept that I learned through business, which I apply in life as well, is questions is what brings in that interactivity. It's not through statements. In fact, inside our classes, our trainers come in and convert every statement into a question. We say, can we call it, is this, instead of saying this is a cell phone, this is used for talking, we say it's like, can we call it a cell phone? Can we use it for talking? Is it time for dinner? Can we have dinner? In fact, so much of questions happen inside our classes. The trainers, I keep hearing stories, they go back home, even with their family members, they say it's like, is it time for dinner? Can we have dinner? Convert every statement into a question. And what happens when you are in a question, you're involving everyone else, and there is
Yes.
a response that comes in. We have seen this work beautifully. So we don't teach grammar as in grammar, but more of a functional aspect to it. Our error correction procedure is also very beautiful. It's like we follow something called as a self, peer, and only then the instructor comes in. Whenever there is an error, we don't even say there is an error. We sort of, the trainer pauses, and the student
Okay.
knows there is no response from the trainer, or we just do a small sound or some this thing. Then that, if given an opportunity, individuals can correct themselves. But when the opportunity is not given, that's when they make it look like it's an error. Then if they're unable to correct it, a peer takes over. We ask somebody else to pitch in. Only then the instructor comes in. It's like
That's very interesting. That is really interesting because I've seen cab drivers who don't know English. They ask questions. That way, they say, "Have you had lunch?" They may not know English at all. But they'll say, "Have you had lunch?" Then you'd say, "Yes, I have had lunch," or "No." They remember yes and a no. And then if you say, "No, I want to," they'll say, "Can I recommend?" It's phrases. It's very interactive. So you're bringing personal learning through asking questions. Is that how Language Station works?
Yes. So what happens is, I mean, in our traditional classes, it was sort of one to many. You would have to come, sit with the same trainer, and you have a group, and it's the same time slot, 6 to 8, Monday to Friday for the next 2 months, 3 months, or 6 months. We have had students coming in from outside Bangalore, or travel for 3-4 hours only for 2 hours of language class, because language is something which you can't do it like a 8 hours continuous learning, maximum 2 or 4 or 3 hours or 4 hours. So that's when we realized it's like we need to have a little more, bring in a little more customization, little more
Okay.
personalization to this entire learning, and then make it much more easier for every person to pick up something new. Language
Okay.
learning is not just about languages. You're learning something new, right? When you're learning something new, it's like new neural pathways get formed in the brain, and then it's like it keeps you fit. We need to keep our body fit by exercising. What do you do for the mind? It's like there are so many other benefits to learning a language.
A lot of people don't realize this, right? If you're articulate in language, right, there is clarity, and the clarity allows you to understand concepts faster. That is so well said. So I want to ask you, how do you choose your personal trainers, right, to teach these languages? There must be a methodology there too. And from there on, why do you think this form of learning is better than classroom training, or peer-to-peer learning is better than classroom training? Why do you think so?
All right. Okay. So yeah, when it comes to selecting trainers, we don't just go in only by their experience. In fact, lesser their experience, better it is, because they do not get into that explanation mode, but open to talking less and asking more questions and things like that. So over the years, we realize there are a few people who are good trainers. Not everyone become good trainers. So one is, we see, are they native speakers or Indians? If they're Indians, what is the certification they have, and from where did they learn their language? And what kind of exposure to the language they have. And we have 2-3 rounds of interviews, and sometimes I personally talk to them. When I talk to them, I sort of get an idea, okay, I mean, what is their teacher talking time, a TTT, and
Yes.
what kind of an approach they bring into teaching languages and things like that. So that way, we have got a very carefully filtered and curated team of trainers who make all the difference, because trainers are the face for our entire this thing. They are the ones who make a difference. So that way, yeah, we have got an excellent team of trainers onboarded with us. And coming to Language Station, yes, I mean, both the forms have their own one-to-many as its own
Yeah.
advantage. It's like you not only learn from your mistakes, you have others also present together, and collectively you learn. You also connect with people, make new friends, and there are its own advantages. But then we also have this busy people. I mean, of late, especially the last 1 year, Everyone is doing multiple things. Online has not just made things easier, they made it busy for everyone. It's like earlier we never had the problem of attendance. Somebody would sign up, they would show up for 80-90% of the classes, very rarely medical reasons and things like that. Now most of the time they ask for a class recording and nobody even comes for the classes, and there's no purpose of
Correct.
just learning through recordings without interacting, and language is
Correct.
that.
I think you've solved that very well. Right? I'm glad. So today, two things. I can register as a teacher on LanguageStation. However, I have to go through this process of saying, how do I teach the students, right? I have to be trained by LanguageStation, or I have to set the standards given by LanguageStation.org, right? And if I'm a student, I can choose the teacher, or do I get different teachers every time I learn a language? And I know interaction is the name of the game, but is it the same teacher throughout?
Yes. So in a group class, it's the same teacher, but in LanguageStation, what happens is we've opened up that entire process where the student can go and select any of the trainers. We have displayed all their profiles, their available timings, and their fee also differs. If somebody wants a very experienced native speaker, they're available at a certain fee, and there are others who are available at different price points. And you, as a learner, you have an option to select only 1 hour of class. Say you want to learn with trainer X today for 5 hours or 1 hour, and then tomorrow you want to change the trainer. There are some students who would like to interact with more trainers, get used to more different ways of pronunciation and saying the same thing. So all this flexibility is now available on LanguageStation.
You talked about neural pathways, right? Is there a way to measure this interaction and creativity that people are becoming better with their language? Is there something that technology can solve that problem? I think a lot of people want to learn languages for several things, right? But I like this point of these new neural pathways because you're learning something new. Is there something that you've measured over the last 15 years and that you've imbibed into LanguageStation that, okay, by learning this, you're going to become better with something or better towards yourself in articulation? It's a subtle balance I'm asking you.
Right. So what happens is, I mean, there is a lot of study, a lot of research, and research proves that learning a new language, people who are bilingual, trilingual, or multilingual have a lot more advantageous benefits. It's not just, I mean, it's more like your IQ increases, your performance in other academic areas also go up, your knowledge of the first language also improves. There's a lot of data available, a lot of research has already been done, and it continues to happen. It's like there is so much of studies that scientists have been doing on language learning. And there are, I mean, the results are like amazing. It's like even dementia, Alzheimer's, and many of these mental diseases can be sort of pushed away when you start engaging more of your brain cells, right? When you start activating more of this brain cells. So there's a lot of research data available out there. We in turn, it's like internally, yes, I mean, our students have been in touch with us, our trainers have been in touch with us, they're happy with this. And we've seen it's like most of the students who undergone the process either get promoted, find a new job, their salaries go up, they're happy. And that happiness also we can, I mean, everyone comes back and gives us a testimonial or feedback. So we've seen that for ourselves.
Okay. Is there a way to patent this form of learning for yourself? Because there's so much data. Eventually, you'll have, I believe that 90% of Indians would not probably know even the neighboring state's language, right? I think that's a fabulous opportunity for you to create a platform, data-led platform, and which can eventually become a big business transformation kind of module. How do you combine technology for this? Because you've already solved the learning piece, or would I be wrong in saying that you've solved the learning language piece, you've solved, and it's only the technology that you have to solve? What would be some of those insights for me? Because I look at this as a very scalable business.
Correct. So what happens is in language learning, there are 4 areas of learning. It's listening, speaking, reading, writing, and a little bit of grammar for those who are serious about academic purposes and things like that. Very soon we realized in business that language, like how did we learn our mother tongue? I mean, I learned my Telugu just by listening and speaking. Reading, writing came years later, and my grammar in Telugu, even today, I don't know any grammar at all. So it's like listening and speaking is the core requirements. Then we thought, why not? I mean, why do they have to even come to a physical space? Why not use technology for it? That's when we introduced telephone lessons back in 2010 itself. We had not, yeah, 10, almost 10 years back when it was unheard of. We thought it's like listening and speaking can happen even on a telephone. Now technology has made it very easy. There is a video also available. So I think language learning can happen very comfortably in a technology space in a digital form. It was more like the learners and the trainers weren't really used to this process of learning, but now it's happening smoothly. And so that way, technology for a language learning, I think, is like, I mean, it's easily adoptable and able to do it. So now, like you rightly pointed out, the scalability. If there are 7 billion people on this planet, everyone speaks one or the other language. And as per one of the studies of British Council, they say 1/3 of the population is actively looking at learning a second language. So you have that many people who already speak a language, and you have the entire population. If 1/3 is actively looking at learning a language, you have the 2/3 who are like, who can, I mean, seeing the benefits. Now it's like everyone is looking at some kind of ways to come out of the mental illness, many other benefits, right? So I see every person as a need for learning a language. It's like, and can we connect both the segments together? Why do we have to like just limit it to a few Indian trainers sitting here? It's like, if you want to learn Telugu, it's like there are so many people out there in Andhra. Can we connect you to one of those people? You want to
Nice.
learn German or Japanese? There are so many people out there, and language learning need not be that. I mean, we can transfer some of our learning to them, but it's more of listening, speaking interactions, right? And also, what happens in the process of language learning, it's not just language, but there's a deep wisdom and culture that is deep within that language, whether it's Sanskrit, German, or Japanese, that also gets transferred to the other person, that knowledge of life principles and things.
Okay. Okay. Very nice answer. Now I'm going to ask you a question that's personal. Obviously, this can be for a lot of parents who have kids. We're all anglicized, many of us, Indian parents, of course, and they want to rediscover their roots. Can their kids be introduced to LanguageStation.org? One, do you think kids should learn multiple languages? You know, maybe English is a foreign language, but maybe an additional foreign language along with Indian languages. For example, I have a 2-year-old daughter, and being Indian, the first thing that parents do is, let's put them in an English-speaking school, and the English is naturally taken care of. But they pick up Telugu or Kannada by listening, right? That's what we do at our homes, right? And most of you would agree with us in India that Hindi is also naturally spoken. Hindi and other languages, kids pick it up at school. So how can we bridge this gap with LanguageStation? Do you think parents should actually try out LanguageStation to understand how kids can learn? Is it an open platform for kids to? What are some of your thoughts and your advice also? Because it's interesting for me, having a little 2-year-old and looking towards the future, protecting our roots and being anglicized in the same process. Can there be beautiful harmony?
Right. Yes, I mean, languages is something which I think is a skill. It's an art form which every student, children should learn languages. And I would suggest mother tongue, and parents speak to them in their mother tongue, because English is something they'll any which ways pick it up later. But you need to know one is your mother tongue, one is the language of your region. If you are in Karnataka, Kannada, I think every child should be exposed to. And also the country's language, Hindi, because it's not only about whether they'll use it or not, but there's a lot of transactions that happens later also, right? It's all the official language of the country and the state, and the mother tongue, I think every child should learn. I would suggest parents do it. But I've also seen a lot more parents are working and not many people even learn the language, and the kids start school and they speak only in English. A lot of kids don't even speak their mother tongue. I would definitely suggest that, make use of whatever peer community you have, or if not, come to a platform like LanguageStation, connect with people, and more of an informal, personalized learning. Let the kids pick up a language. Not every day. I know it's like kids are overburdened with too many things, but language can be fun. It's not about just writing, it's talking, connecting with people, right? Just 30 minutes or 1 hour every week can also make a huge difference.
Savitha, your thoughts on, do you think by learning a foreign language and forgetting your own language, is it impactful for kids at some point of time? Is it mentally troublesome? The reason I ask it is also personal. I've gone through it personally by only focusing on English all my life. I seem to have missed out on the cultural elements of our states, be it Andhra, Telangana, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. Uh, you were right. We treat language as transactional, but it's an art form. Go learn it, right? You need to blend all these. Is it important to do so?
Yes, it is important. I mean, I understand as the entire business, I mean, entire thing is becoming a little more globalized now.
Yeah,
Schools, instead of offering Sanskrit, Hindi, or Kannada, they're offering French, German, and Spanish. And most of the kids have started opting for that, hoping that in the future, when they go there for higher education or for jobs, it would be helpful. Yes, it will be helpful, but at the same time, I think the regional languages, mother tongue, also should be given importance. It's more like the schools and the parents give them an exposure. I mean, for kids, they still, it's a language for them, whether you learn French or Sanskrit, it's another language for them. So I think they should be encouraged and
okay,
to speak multiple languages. And this is where forums and communities would come in to help them. I mean, and it's easy. It's like once you learn one or two languages, you can easily pick up other languages.
correct, correct. So Language Station is available for kids too. That was my question too.
Especially kids, it helps them because they also, we see a lot of kids, one is learning their own languages, and secondly for academic purpose, they would have taken up Hindi or French or Spanish in school and nobody to help them, so they come to Language Station. So we have a lot of kids, especially kids, learning curve is very different, right? Each one has their own curriculum, each one is in different grades, and they need help with exams or clearing those tests and things like that. So we see a lot of one-on-one learning happening from kids on Language Station.
Phenomenal. And guys, if you're watching this, right, and if your parents struggling with being anglicized and you want to go back to your roots, I would say check out languagestation.org because you're taken care of. And like Savitha said, kids have a different way of learning, and there are teachers, personal trainers from the languagestation.org to take care of that. I would definitely like you to check that out. I want to talk a little bit about your personal side, right? You're a classical dancer, you're a motivational speaker. What about us in being busy in this transactional world, right? Why does an art form make us more human and why is it important? In your case, motivational speaking and classical dancing, right? Is that still a major portion of your life and is it important for every leader to have that?
Yes, I mean, I would suggest that, I mean, even for a business or work is also actually an art form or creativity if you look at it from the right angle. If
Yes,
just looking at it just as the targets and the monetary aspects of it, that's when the stress builds up and you face all kinds of problems. So when you look at it as an art form, and it's like, I think it's very important that each one of us do what we enjoy doing the most and not get stuck with one kind of skill or work, but then bring in variety of them. It could be anything that makes you happy. It's like, it could be yoga, dance, or music, or any kind of this thing. And this aspect of your life, right, brings in that creativity and energy, which you can see the results or take those learnings to your business and work and make a much more impact there as well.
nice, nice. I think that's a fair answer to making us human. And I this is a question that I ask everybody in my show. And what's your 30-second guide to happiness, if there is such a thing?
Yes, I mean, it's your purpose in life, a reason for living. It's like I've been exploring a lot of things. Then I realized it's like what makes you happy, what being in the present moment, whatever you enjoy doing, right? I get up and I do yoga, I'm so happy. And when I teach something or share my knowledge with others, I'm very happy. That's where I've given a few motivational speeches. Or when I'm singing or dancing, it's like you're completely in the present moment, or drawing or painting and things like that. So I feel it's like whatever gives you that happiness, whatever you love doing, whatever makes sure that you're mindful of what you're doing, whether it's eating or this thing. That's
That's
my,
a well said. You actually timed it at 26 seconds, so you're wonderful. So that's wonderful. I mean, it's interesting, right? A lot of us tend to forget the now aspect. Like you said, stress builds up because we are looking at targets, numbers. At what stage did you decouple the targets and your mind and saying that I will achieve it, but on my own terms? Did that ever happen to you? Are failures something that you look at as well?
Yes, I mean, like I said, the first 5, 6 years of the business was very difficult. I was like so worried. Now I've started this business. If I don't succeed, what will
Yeah.
my family think of me? What will my network, society think of me? I'll be a failure. I need to somehow make this successful. What do I do? And things like that. And I've gone through a few failures, met people who supposedly you
Yes.
said mentors and things like that. Didn't turn out the way it has to be, lost some money and things like that. But one thing I did is I never gave up. I kept moving on and on. And yeah, it's like I think going from one it's a wisdom that you gain in that journey,
Yes.
and that you start applying in everything that you do. And yeah.
You have to be strong for yourself. That's what you're saying. There is no second to that. I completely agree with you on that, right, Savitha? Okay, books and other recommendations. I can't let you go from the show without having to say what books. It can be a Kannada book, it can be Telugu, it can be English as well, it can be films. What would you recommend? What have you been reading or watching?
All right. So, I mean, of late, I did my yoga teachers training course just before the lockdown, and I'm now teaching yoga in the mornings for the last 1 year. And I'm exploring a lot more on holistic health, a plant based diet, and completely moved away, even though my family is still a non vegetarian diet, completely vegan, plant based diet, and no meat, dairy products. And I'm exploring more and more of that and sharing my experiences with my people in my yoga class and others. So this is what of late I'm trying. I mean, I'm trying understanding, and also a little bit of spiritual aspect. Spiritual is more about the science to life, right? What is, how do you lead life and
Yes.
be in the present moment? I think it's most of the worries, everything comes because you're in the future or the past. And living in the present, theoretically, it all sounds good, but practically experiencing or adopting it, it's a moment by moment practice, right? So life is like an art form. It's like you practice every moment. So this is something which I'm practicing, that moments in between what you do, right? Can you be in the present? And recently,
Fantastic.
a movie called Peaceful Warrior, and
Okay.
that talks about this. It's like it's not about the destination but the journey, and if you can master being in the present moment, that's when you have 100% of your energies, and you can achieve whatever you want to do it, and do it because you love doing it, not to prove to the society or anything. So that's
Well
something
said.
I like to do.
Peaceful Warrior is the name of the movie. It's in which language?
It's in English, and
Okay. Okay. Very nice. So, what about family? I mean, your family is your inner strength.
yes, I mean, I always believe that the first and foremost relationship is the relationship that we share with ourselves, next with our family, and then comes our business, work, and friends and other network. So I have two kids, and my daughter is in, she's completed her 12th, and she's gone to UK now, and she wanted to explore even in the lockdown. I said, yeah, don't stop yourself. Nothing should stop us from exploring. She's in college there. My son is in ninth grade. My husband is into business, mostly in the real estate sector. And yes, and we live in Bangalore. And it's very important for me. It's like family comes first, because it's like as the kids grow up, and those relationships is what gives us that energy and the fuel to work on our business. And if everything is happy here, then business happens much more easily.
Wow,
So
Savita, that's the holistic life that I really needed from this podcast. For everybody who's listening to this, right? A holistic life is about being in the now, the ability to let go. That comes with discipline, and the discipline is obviously exercise, diet, mental awareness, and it's possible. It's all within you, and mistakes are okay to make. Obviously, listening to this podcast won't solve your problems, but at least it gives you the know-how on what you have to do next. And ladies and gentlemen, I would suggest go check out LanguageStation.org. It's Savitha Reddy's company to teach people in several languages, foreign languages, Indian languages. Yes, for those of you who are anglicized, can go check out Language Station to discover Kannada, Telugu, Tamil, and other languages. I'm sure other in the Indian languages are there too, right, Savitha?
yes, I mean, this platform, as we have listed almost close to 100 languages, both Indian and international.
And
So,
it's a global company, obviously.
yes, it's a global peer to peer learning community that we are building here.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's Savitha Reddy, and that's her story. And watch it, read it, and listen to it on upstream.life. The website is the upstream.life.com. And another thing, what more? To be mentored is something that everybody aspires to. Savitha, do you mentor people?
Yes, I do.
You do? And they can reach out to you at what channel, or how do they write to you? Do you have a social media channel there?
Yes, I'm there on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. You can connect with me in any of these channels, and you can send me WhatsApp or email me. And
What's your Instagram ID?
it's Savitha Reddy 123.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much on being on Upstream.life, and I'll see you soon, Savitha, for coffee. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vishal, and all the best. Thanks.